Have a guess how long that segment went.
27 hours.
What?
Have a guess how long that
32 minutes.
went.
I don't know, 27 minutes.
50.
Oh, Jesus.
50. God.
50-minute segment.
You're going to have to edit today.
Oh, no.
If it all flows, just let it run. Because if it's flowing, people are just listening.
G'day, and welcome to episode 15. And to quote the Mayor of Whoville, from the Grinch, we are talking celebrations and jubilations.
Is that Hootaville or Whoville? It's like Hortonhead or who?
That one, not the short shorts and the T-shirts. Welcome, Phil. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Jingle. Where's the bells? There they go. I heard them.
So, what constitutes celebrations and jubilations?
Well, Christmas cocktails.
Always. Favorite movies, favorite songs.
Presents, whether they open them on the eve or the day.
Controversial topic.
Yep.
When do you have your big meal? On the eve or on the day?
Italian, yeah, every meal's a big meal.
What's your traditional meal? Because that'll change a little bit. And trees. Fake, decorated, yeah, flocked, all those things.
Yeah, I had a lot of flock trees before.
Careful.
Yeah. We used to call them Charlie Brown trees, remember?
Yes. And your best memories?
Memories, yeah. And Christmas in July. This ain't July anymore. It feels like July.
That's right. So Christmas in Australia does feel like Christmas in July. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about some of our first Christmases in Australia and how they were different. And also, this is the time we can talk about Christmas parties.
Of past,
yes. Because, here it's not the same. At home, it's more of a cocktail party.
Yeah. Get drunk.
Yeah. Often.
Yeah.
And
then get fired the day after.
That's right.
Do you know who that was?
Strange photocopy pictures. I was talking about how probably my last Christmas party, but one of the best that I ever had. It was very special. I worked for a company and we had salespeople during the year. So the week coming up to Christmas, we had a big party, and it was actually at the place Brandy and I got married. So it was the nicest restaurant in town, and they got the banquet hall, and it was cocktails. I was a bit young. I'm sure some of the guys snuck a few my way. 3-course meal, dancing, and then there was a presentation. So all the salesmen made commission. So every sale they made a commission, and they kept track of it, and they didn't realize at the end of the year, the company handed them a check and they had matched their commissions. So that was like their bonus. And it was just so lovely because, they worked hard, and as hard as they worked, that's sort of what they got in reimbursement.
Yeah, well, the difference in America is on commission basis, you have to work, fill the pipeline, get it out the other end. And that's how you made your money. So either you sold something or you didn't eat because your base salary was very, very low. And over here, it's the other way around. You got a high base salary and little commission. That's why service stinks over here. Nobody calls you back because they don't care. They're still getting their big base salary. But if they got a big commission, they'd be on you like white on rice.
Yes, it's like tips. Like it's the same thing.
Yes.
And that was the point. I think at the end of it, you worked hard and you had a big year. They rewarded you with that big year. It's much better than Clark's Jelly of the Month Club. So remember in Christmas Vacation where he was going to put the pool in because he was waiting for his bonus? And yes, then there's a kidnapping and a very large man in a blue leisure suit that we can talk about at another point. Now, we've got some fun facts. But
you did forget something you told me about that Christmas party that happened to you. What you got.
Oh, yes. Well,
that's what it was all about, right?
Well, prior to that, we'd had a big year. So because I was in admin, I was a receptionist.
You were the girl Friday.
I was, and we used to get up to 500 calls a day. So I had a headset on and everything. And one of my old bosses, who's now passed away, George, gave me this envelope, and in it was a check. It was like a bonus check for all the hard work I had done as well. And I sat there and cried like an idiot. I probably would still be with that company that meant so much to me, but on to different countries and bigger and better things.
There you go. Now, first fun fact.
Yes.
You got one?
I do, but it involves you, really. 'cause
Me? I
everything-
didn't do nothing.
Well, everything cool seems to come out of New York.
I know. You're looking at one.
I know. I was waiting for that. And many humble people come out of New York, too. The first Christmas tree lot was, now, we probably need to explain to some of our Australian listeners, but the first Christmas tree lot was in New York in 1851.
Long time
A
ago.
very long time ago. So when
But it probably really wasn't a lot. You
No.
know, it would have been a corner.
That's right.
Yeah, they put it on the corner, put the trees around it, got some old drums, and all the cutoffs and all that went in the drums to start the fire to keep them warm at night.
And that's why the fires smelled so good,
Yes.
too. I forgot about those. And so instead of Christmas tree farms are sort of big now, here we go have the tree cut as a day out, and then occasionally, you have fundraisers or the scouts have cut trees, but we would go to these corner lots. It'd be like a vacant lot during the year, and it'd be a pumpkin patch or a tree lot at Christmas, and you just sort of pick a tree. My mother would always pick, we might get a nice tree, but then we get like a little sad, like Charlie Brown tree, a little Linus tree too, because my mom, we both go, it's just going to waste. Who's going to buy it? And they saw us coming every time.
But the other thing they used to do is you bought a tree, and they usually give you for free, and I think now they probably charge you. They give you the cutoffs. And what you would do if you were talented a little bit is make a wreath out of the cutoffs.
Or lay them on your mantle, or do the mantle.
Yeah, and you got that beautiful pine smell going throughout the whole house.
Yeah.
How good was that? You don't get that with a fake tree.
Well, we've got that in our studio today. The Christmas tree is wafting through.
I don't smell anything.
Thanks, Phil. I'll make it go out and come back in again.
You got one of those incense burners.
But I'll burn some cutoffs in a drum.
Yeah.
And we have another fun fact that I thought this was quite sad, and then you filled me in a bit. The person that invented the electric Christmas tree lights wasn't Thomas Edison. It just says Thomas Edison's assistant.
Well, one of his assistants was Nikola Tesla.
So, could be.
Yeah.
You never know.
They broke apart. He went to GE, General Electric.
Right.
Okay. And the whole thing there was about AC/DC, not the band, but or not any sexuality type thing, but it was about AC/DC because one wanted alternating current, one wanted direct current. So Nikola Tesla won that battle.
Right.
And Edison hated him for that. And Edison went through some really horrific things like killing elephants is one story too, to show you how safe, one was from the other.
Oh.
Yeah.
Some of these people that we did admire, these interesting stories have come out later on. So maybe madness creates some good things that we now use. But it was in 1882. So I don't know when the breakup was between the two of them, but it was, I wonder, it was mass produced in 1890. So I wonder if Thomas made the money off of it and the assistant might be.
But they might have broke up around the holidays.
Yeah,
which is another story we'll get to in a little bit.
Well, yes, that's the not so fun fact.
Oh, that's the fun fact number 2.
Yes.
So it relates probably with number 1.
It could. It's perfect.
Yes.
That 2 weeks before Christmas is one of the 2 most popular times for couples to break up.
And what's the other popular time?
I don't know.
New Year's?
Do not know that.
Oh.
Valentine's Day? Renovating?
Yeah.
So far, you and Jeanette still speaking?
About what?
Anything?
But, there is a great song, a Christmas song about breaking up.
Oh.
Well, they're actually, I don't know if they're breaking up, but they're fighting in the song.
Well, that's part of Christmas.
It's called Fairy Tale of New York. So if you haven't listened to it, go on YouTube, or it's on YouTube by the Park. So there's a little story, and it's like a story tale, but it's a fairy tale. And this song was also, here's a fun fact, was banned by the BBC on December the 18th, 2007, because they had to edit out a few words in it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so should I say those words?
No, don't say those words.
Okay, I won't say the words. You can listen to the song and figure out which one it is, and then Google it yourself and see if you know what the words are.
And then there's always George Carlin, the words that you can't say on television.
Actually, these 2 words were not any of those.
So we'll have to add those to George's list.
Yes.
But on that, we're gonna leave that now.
We Why?
Because you do your best to get us in trouble, and I'm doing my best to steer the ship out of it.
Okay, well, we'll be back in a moment with the good stuff. Okay, we're back. I don't know if that makes you excited, but we are back. So our first topic that we're going to talk about is Christmas cocktails.
Always our favorite subject. We managed to sneak it in somewhere.
Yep.
My first thing of a Christmas cocktail is my mother. While she's making the Christmas feast and Christmas morning, she always has a bottle of Martini and Rossi, Asti Spumante.
Oh.
Little Asti. I think it's the first sparkling wine I had.
Always makes you cook better when you have a glass of wine or sparkling or some type of alcoholic drink. Yeah.
And I've kept the tradition on that once a year I buy a bottle of Spumante, and I'll have that Christmas morning with our breakfast, because then I'm in a much better mood for the rest of the day. I got to start it right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always think of like Christmas, not so much as the Spumante, but if you go with that, it's champagne cocktail.
Oh, yeah.
I remember we went through like stages with my family, and I was always like the bartender and had to be making the drinks. So my aunts and all that would always wait for me to come and make the drinks. And then I would make something that would just like put them right out, right? So the champagne cocktail that I used to make was a cube of sugar, some bitters that you pour onto the cube, about a quarter of the glass of brandy.
That's why they
and then topped it off with the champagne. And what was so nice about it, you drink it and it tastes just like champagne at the beginning, dry, a little bit bitter. And then as you get to the bottom, it gets sweeter and nicer. And then, I'll have another one. That was really nice. Yeah. And then
it's just like the people drinking it get sweeter and nicer than the first couple.
And then by the second one,
We like Brendan and I like champagne cocktails, and we used to get them when we go out. Before you get married and you go to fancy restaurants, you know how that all stops after that?
It's been that long, I forgot.
But there's one we're going to try this year because we're doing Christmas. Part of Christmas, we're doing a Christmas Eve dinner for our immediate family, and I'm going to make one called a poinsettia. So it's orange. So it'd be Cointreau, champagne, but now that I've got you've told me the measurements, I'm going to do the whole order. Cranberry juice as well, so it's red. So it's a bit fancy.
And cranberries are traditional for Christmas and the holiday season.
So if it's cranberry juice, it doesn't.
And it's good for you.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Antioxidants.
Mm-hmm. Got to get those in you.
Or you could do the mulled wine. So Christmas Eve, because red wine is full of antioxidants, and cinnamon's good for you and all that. So
I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's like good for your heart and everything.
Oh, I know that. That's why that's the diet I'm on at night. How much wine I could drink. But in thinking of that, how good it is, and we spoke last week about sangria.
Yes.
How good would that be with all that fruit in it?
Yeah,
that'd be so healthy for you.
Well, instead of mulled wine, the sangria should be the Australian warm Christmas drink.
Exactly.
Ooh, let's see. I don't know if I have enough time to drink all these things without getting the whole mixing.
Well, we got till now the Christmas to start on it.
My dad used to love, and I can't think of the brand, but he'd get this little tub, sort of like what margarita salt comes in.
Yeah.
But it was hot buttered rum mix. So it was like sugary and buttery, and I used to eat it by the spoon. But he'd make hot buttered rum. And he made me the non-alcoholic version when I was little. But then I graduated to the rum one. Yeah. But I find that really Christmassy to me. When you go home, you don't live there all the time, and you look through the fridge and you go, "Oh, it's here. It must be the time for it." So that was Dad with the hot buttered rum.
Now, going back to the alcoholics in my family, they were only social alcoholics.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Yeah, we weren't. No, I can't say that.
No, just
okay. Our first one that came about was the Brandy Alexander.
Oh, I love those.
Okay, so that was like probably the initial cocktail that they had me make.
Mm-hmm.
Quite easy to make. 3 ingredients: brandy, heavy cream, and cream de cocoa.
That's right. So chocolate,
and then a little bit of nutmeg on top. very elegant, and it's also a drink that was originated in New York.
See, everything good.
Well, there's a lot of bars and pubs in New York.
It's like, what do we have? Avocados.
Could you make that into alcohol? Actually, avocado is great with tequila. You can't have, like, if you have avocado and a guacamole.
Yes.
Tequila is like the perfect drink to go with.
That's right. Or you could just, if you can't do the shot, you can do the margarita.
Yeah, why not?
That's another one. But I want to go back to Brandy Alexander's for a minute, because that's almost like an eggnog. Yeah,
but it's not as heavy, because eggnogs are so nice, but they could be so heavy, and then it like weighs you down. So, but we were doing that, but the original one that came out, and the guy, and Alexander came from the fellow, the bartender who created the drink. His last name was Alexander.
Fair enough.
Okay. The original drink was made not with brandy, but with gin.
Oh.
I don't know. I have to try that.
Oh, well, you know what? That's not, well, I'm just thinking no cream, but our family, my grandfather must have loved them. My mom loves them. So often, because we'd have a big thing Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, we would go out often for breakfast, or, occasionally, depending on the year, a Ramus Fizz.
What is that?
It is a gin drink, and it's beautiful. And I remember my grandpa, who's a big guy, goes, come over here, Sook, taste a little bit of this. And it was, so it's gin, lemon juice, sugar syrup, and then you mix it, you whisk it like with an egg white. So when they do it, it is fizzy. It is frothy. Yeah. So
it's sort of like a whiskey sour.
Well, kind of. And you get the caveat because it's a brunch drink.
Yeah.
So you don't get in trouble for having it before 12. And Mom passed that love on, and occasionally I go, oh, I feel like a Ramus Fizz.
Yeah. I mean, and I just mentioned about being alcoholics, right? We only had one alcoholic person that I knew that growing up, and that was my Aunt Anna, which is Uncle Joey's wife. Right? Her father used to come to some of the functions, with the family by himself. I don't know if his mother passed away or his wife passed away or whatever. I don't know the whole story. I don't remember. Mr. Bastoni. Okay. Famous name in the Italian history of mafioso.
Right.
Okay. I think Bastoni was the barber who cut Al Capone's chin. Okay. I don't think it was him. But anyway, it might have been because he was pretty into the heavy alcohol.
Right.
Okay. And he used to drink, and I remember my father used to comment on it, 4 Roses rye whiskey. That was straight? Straight. Or I don't remember if he put any ginger ale in it or whatever. But he used to drink 4 Roses rye whiskey. That was like the cheapest thing you could buy. And supposedly he had money. I mean, he used to.
That's why he had money.
I was in one of his grandchildren, and he used to give me, like, on the holidays, come over to him and say hello to him, and he gives me $1, like $1.
Yes.
In the 60s was like, oh, geez, what am I going to do with all this money? That's like 50 ding dongs, So, but my father used to come in, and he'd drink the crappiest thing you could buy. But now, if you go to the store in America, rye whiskey is more than bourbon.
Yes.
Okay, it came up with the new craze of alcohol. It just got reinvented again. And 4 Roses, if you can find that, that's like, that's a top shelf. What, are you crazy? That belonged in the cellar.
That's like people drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was the worst thing that you get someone's brother to buy for you so you can get drunk in a parking lot where everyone was cruising up and down the avenue underage.
Well, a few years back, we met up with Rachel and my sister in Vegas, right? So Jeanette and my sister, they were early go-to-bedders, and Rachel goes, oh, there's some hair bands playing over at the at the club over at the Valencia, or whatever, the Italian one, with the rivers and stuff. Anyway, so we go
Venetian.
there. Venetian, yes. So we go there, and they had passport ribbon on. So I said, all right, look, I'll have one just for the sake of it. And I realized why I stopped drinking PBR. It was that awful. It's like that drink over here, Furfies. Have you You don't drink beer. That's like the Pabst Blue Ribbon of Australia.
Let's not offend everyone.
Okay, I just want to offend a lot of people because it is the holidays.
Well, that's
this is
all
like
it is.
giving.
It's like my favorite line from my favorite movie. It's Christmas. We're all in misery.
Yes. So I got one more
Yes.
that we used to. So we went at, this was like the trilogy of the drinks that I remember. And the last one was a Margarita Cocktail. Different than a frozen margarita
Right.
or what traditionally you have in California. So this was just basically tequila, triple sec,
Yes.
a little bit of lime juice,
Yep.
shaked it up. And of course you rimmed the glass. And it was a cocktail. So I served it over ice.
Yum. That's
And
a top shelf.
That will also give you a good beating. Yep. Okay, so movies.
Okay, I don't know if it's because I'm Gen X and we kind of raised ourselves.
Yeah.
And I have movies on. My whole family, Christmas movies are as part of Christmas as the tree. So from maybe just before Thanksgiving, Christmas Vacation is on rotation in my house. That has to be my all-time favorite movie, our most quoted movie in our house all year round. And, you know, I do feel like when Clark's trying to get the whole family together for a merry family Christmas and it all goes to hell in a handbasket.
That's where most of them go.
Even last night I was driving home and the tree out the front, Brendan is having issues with the timer. And I'm like, your little twinkly lights aren't twinkling, Clark. So I don't think we can watch it the whole way. We walk away and come back, but it's like a part of our Christmas experience.
Yeah, well, she's also in that same genre, right?
Yeah.
And she likes movies. She's been watching Christmas. I come home from work and she has a Christmas movie on since before Thanksgiving.
Good on her.
Like, I think every Christmas movie that was ever produced and been on YouTube or Netflix, she's been on it and watched it. You know, her favorite movie is Miracle on 34th Street.
And that's beautiful.
The classic one.
Yes.
The original.
Natalie Wood.
Did she play the little girl?
Yeah. It is beautiful. And that story was always, because it's about the magic of Christmas, which they made a newer one, but I like the original.
And of course, Miracle on 34th, that's Macy's, you know.
Yes.
It's all
Well,
around
that
the
ties
parade.
around you in the parade.
Yes.
Well, It's a Wonderful Life, which I do love. But I do love that my quote from that is a quote from Christmas Vacation. Yeah. Because everyone's asleep and the onslaught of relatives ring the doorbell. And you hear the quote from It's a Wonderful Life with the little girl going, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
Oh, God. How many times could you hear that without puking?
But that is the story of redemption of Jimmy Stewart, small town America. And it was just an angel trying to get its wings.
Yes.
And a little bit schmaltzy. We like The Grinch. Now we like Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Now you've seen my phone when my husband calls, what picture comes up? It's The Grinch.
The Grinch.
The Grinch. Because he is just like it.
Boy, here comes the Christmas fight. It's starting to brew right now.
It's the humor.
In the right corner, where black trunks, it's Brendan.
It's more like
Let's get ready to rumble. Okay.
Well, I think we've had that on rotation as well. And the stuff I like the stuff that kids' movies, some of those, like The Grinch, when you're watching it with your kids, they have enough jokes for us to get to.
Yes.
And now the children have grown up and they're getting those secondary jokes as well.
I think one of the most funniest movies, and recent movie, because we're talking about old movies like Holiday Inn.
Yep.
And, those are very traditional. Is Elf.
Oh,
it is just so.
Jimmy Kahn. It is so.
Yeah.
It's so good. That is Ainsley has that. So that's our youngest, has that on rotation, and it is fantastic.
It is a funny movie. So let's get into music.
Oh yes. Now this is your area, I think, far more than mine. I've got some traditional stuff. Christmas music, I kind of stick with my little bubble because it makes me
feel like Christmas of old. I mean, music always brings you back to another time a lot. And I think that's why everybody growing up, the music they listen to the most is probably the music they listened to when they were in their teens and early 20s. And I mean, that's what all I listen to. And probably, you listen to different music, but
it's the same,
in the same genre. We never grow out of that area, which I think is good because
keeps it alive.
It keeps it alive, but it also makes you still feel like you're still 19.
That's right. And Dick Clark used to say it's like the soundtrack to our lives.
Yes. Or was that Casey Kasem?
No, it was Dick Clark, but Casey probably lifted it.
Yes.
I have to be in the right mood to hear I'll Be Home for Christmas because it can make me just cry. It can make me blubber, but at the right time, if I'm ready for it, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, a good sad Christmas song is really good.
Well,
okay. I like I'll Be Home for Christmas, or one of my favorites, Elvis. I'll have a blue Christmas without you.
Yes.
Right. That is also that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and
Blue Christmas.
And I like anything like Rosemary Clooney's voice and the Rat Pack. I've got a Rat Pack Christmas album. Bit of Frank and Dino.
I'll have to listen. I was listening to Michael Bublé.
Yes.
On the way in his Christmas album because he's what do you call it? Not a tenor, a crooner.
That's right. So he's the modern era of it. And actually, Nat King Cole.
Oh.
Now, my mother always told me that my grandfather loved him, but that's my first sort of Christmas memories is Nat King Cole.
Which song did he do?
The Christmas song.
The Christmas song. Chestnuts Roasting.
On
I always think of that song as Mel Torme, the Golden Frog, Or the Velvet Frog, not Golden. He was Velvet Frog.
Fog, not frog.
Oh, Fog.
Fog.
Like in Foggy. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, my God. Actually.
You look like a frog.
You can't save yourself from that one. That is so funny. I will be killed by the woman who gave birth to me if I don't mention, and I forgot, Johnny Mathis. Because my mother, when she was about my age, she climbed up on a table to look over a fence to see Johnny Mathis at a party after a concert.
Oh, I can only remember Johnny Mathis on like Ed Sullivan, chances are, and he's rubbing up and down his leg. I couldn't do it with his hand. That's like the picture in my mind.
Well, my dad used to irritate my mother. Hey, Mom, I wonder if they broke up over Christmas, actually. My dad used to irritate my mother by going, so we're going to listen to Johnny Mathis whine now? But he has beautiful, beautiful Christmas music. My husband has a soft spot for the Ronettes. So they've done Christmas, that wall of sound.
Yes.
And
is he still in jail, Phil?
Yes. We're kind of going, the producer's a murderer in jail. Should we still be listening to that? And Brendan's like, yes, we should.
But he was a trip. I mean, he had a good sense of music and bringing out the wall of sound and all that. But that on everybody, if you've written a song, part of the deal was he had to get his name as he was a co-writer also, so he gets that lifetime wig out of that.
That's why he had all those great wigs when he was on trial.
that Einstein wig that he had, remember that? Or the Horseshack wig.
The wig fund. We'll just get off murderers.
All right.
Yeah?
So we go on traditional songs. So like I have a few traditional, like We, Three Kings. That's like Christmas, and I don't know, Drummer Boy.
Oh, Little Drummer Boy.
That came out in the 60s, what I remember.
And we had an album. Like I remember it was like, and Nat King Cole he narrated the album. And that used to make me sad, but I like the, we need to put the YouTube link up for this. David Bowie and Bing Crosby singing Peace on Earth with Little Drummer Boy. And that'll make me cry. I have to do it early in the day. Right. Or else I'll get a little bit sappy.
Now, on new songs, I mean, there are some recent ones. So I have two favorites. They're funny songs. Okay. So both of mine, anybody wants to look these up and have a really good laugh, or one's funnier than the other. So we'll start with the real funny one first. So the real funny one is Drunk on Christmas. It's just like, I love that song. There's just great lines in that song about, why do you want to get drunk on Christmas? Because of your relatives, basically.
So many reasons, yes.
And he goes on about why, what's wrong with them. Okay. So if you want to listen to that, so there's two versions, one with Jimmy Fallon and John Rich.
Yes.
And the original one is called Big and Rich, which is John Rich also, done in a different setting, done on a like a little clip thing. So both of them are really good. Both of them are funny. The words are just tremendous. And then the other one is, we were talking about Christmas breakups.
Yes.
So this is the Big Brawl of New York. It's called Fairy Tale of New York.
Yes.
Right? Am I got that right? Fairy Tale of New York? Yeah, Fairy Tale of New York. So it's more of an Irish type melody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then they put a little zingers in there of traditional Christmas song as it goes on. But it's about two couples that, it's that Christmas bells that I hear.
Is Santa here,
Oh,
Ralphie?
it's Ralphie the dog with the little toy. We're not paying attention to him. So they're in the drunk tank.
Yes.
That's where it all starts.
Let's start.
Yeah, love starts there. So he's in the drunk tank. He's missing his girlfriend, and he goes on, and there's another drunk in there with them, and it's a whole story, and it's done pretty visual by the Pogues. I think Pogues. And then he gets back with his girlfriend, and then they have the fight. That I could have been this and I could have been that.
Oh.
Yeah. So it really sets the Christmas tone.
We'll have to look at that, but you make sure you're in a good mood when you listen to it, not that you go. And another thing.
Yeah, but both of those songs, there's parts of it that everybody could relate. So one of them, he's like, he makes a thing about with a reindeer. He makes us make a scotch and soda that's enough to put a reindeer in a coma. Yeah, little words
I like that.
Yeah. And he goes about his father, and his father has a thing up his rear end, and he doesn't know why, and his sister doesn't talk to anybody. So it's really, you got to listen to the songs.
Yes, those are the Christmas memories that I remember. My grandmother, her little sister, Aunt Lynn, used to still hold it against them. They were in their 60s, and she'd still tell me every Christmas, your grandmother used to put a cold mirror on my back. I was like, was that like 55 years ago? Like, is that right? Yeah. Just to irritate her in the middle of the night.
But do you remember at school, you went to Catholic school, right?
Oh, gosh, yes. Sister Mary Eugene was the principal.
There you go. So during the Christmas holidays, we always sang Christmas carols. Like first you started off just with your class, and then with the rest of the grades in the church and all that. That was really traditional. I doubt if they even do that even at the Catholic schools.
Well, no, they do, because my little great niece just did a little. Luckily, everyone was able to get back at school for the end of it,
right? And
she was in a little nativity play, and her mom showed me a video of it, and they were singing. And the local church, they do the children's mass, a half hour before that starts. Yeah. They just sing carols. So which is quite lovely to go to. And, there's one guy in that choir that, that's only one time a year he gets to sing, because pretty much that's all you hear. But that hits you.
Yeah. I remember that, we were over there singing, especially when you went down into the church and sang, and how the nuns even got into the Christmas spirit, so they didn't hit you as hard if you were talking to the guy next to you.
It's the only time you can see him crack a smile, some of them. Oh. Yes, Sister Anne.
And then we had to buy gifts for the nuns, remember?
Yes. Often it was a box of chocolates. Mm. And I think they all got the same box of chocolates. And Sister Mary Eugene got that. She shared with us. But I didn't want to get Sister Anne anything, because you know what she used to say? If she was irritated with you, she'd go, I shoot you now. I was like, what the hell does that mean? Well,
that's better than one of we used to call her Tiz, because she called every other word was tis this and tis that. So this nun, I'll wallop you skillfully. Never mind, I'll beat the shit out of you. Sorry. I'll wallop you skillfully.
I like that. Yeah, Sister Mary Eugene used to spit when she talked. And you have to, you try to keep a distance. And here's your Christmas present. You kind of shove it across her desk. Yeah. Or, she used to be one, she'd make you stand against the wall and then she'd forget about you. So you're standing there for an hour. And then she'd go, get your greasy head off my wall.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I always had to give to the nuns there, my mother insisted, because she bought the presents, of course.
Yeah.
Yardley soap.
Oh, that's a very nun present.
Yeah.
Handkerchiefs are another one.
Yeah.
I remember Grandma getting handkerchiefs.
But oddly so, but I remember
Yeah.
why we had to go searching for. You couldn't find it in the supermarket. I don't know where my mother got it from.
Well, she was a nice lady because the nuns take the vow of poverty. So only nice, maybe feminine thing that they would get is something sweet like your mother came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it was those chalky chocolates that we got at the bargain bin.
Fatten them up, and you couldn't tell anyway. So.
Well, they couldn't chase you as fast. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get. Well, I'm already probably going to have a few years wrapped up in purgatory. There'll be a few more. Mm-hmm. I do have to say, and the last thing, I know we kind of went off. I play Whamageddon every year. Now, do you know what this is?
Whamageddon.
So the Wham Christmas song. What's the name of it now? Now that I can't think of it. Oh my God, I can't think of it.
Wham. Oh, wait, Mariah
Carey has her own. Last Christmas, yes. Right? So the thing is, you need to spend from December 1. There's thousands of us that play it all over the world. December 1 to December 24th, 11:59, you have to avoid hearing the Wham version of Last Christmas.
It's sort of like, you just got a thought in my head. The worst Christmas album ever, which came out about 5 years ago.
Which was?
Bob Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, why would he isn't he Jewish, first of all?
Well, he is, but so is Barbara Streisand, and she has
but
the
she
most
could
beautiful
sing.
Yes, there you go. That's exactly it.
Okay. But on that, like, that had to be like the worst. And you could go still on iTunes and whatever and listen to it. And don't have the children in the car when you're doing it, because unless you want to clean up after them.
But see, Phil, I feel the same way about Bruce Springsteen.
Well, he does Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which is non-dimensional, not
denominational. But I don't like his Christmas music. I actually
Okay. But speaking of, let's finish up this on. So one of my favorite newer 20 years ago, Mannheim Steamroller. I don't know if you ever listen to Mannheim Steamroller, electronic music, a lot of Moog synthesizers and stuff. Yeah. Very bright, traditional songs that they did. Oh. So do that, Mannheim Steamroller.
I'm going to look that
up. So I think they have two of them. I think their first Christmas album was better than the second one.
Okay.
And then we got other ones that probably make the hit parade all the time you listen to, is like Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Oh, I love that. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Yeah, and then there's a few others that you probably never heard of before. The Night That Whiskey Froze, which is like an Irish melody, but I think it's a Canadian song.
Oh, I don't know.
Because where else would whiskey freeze?
That's about right.
Who Spiked the Eggnog? That's an Acapella song. Yeah.
How did I miss that one?
Yeah, these are.
I told you, this is your genre.
Right? And then we got another person who sings just as bad as Bob Dylan. In fact, Bob Dylan even says, "Have you listened to Tom Waits?" So Tom Waits does a Christmas card from a hooker in Minnesota.
I'm sorry. I can't get that imagery out of my head.
And then John Denver, and I think this one, he was in the Rocky Mountain High syndrome when he did this song called "Please Daddy, Don't Get Drunk This Christmas." And he sounds like Hank Williams on it. He even does like a little bit of a yodel in the middle of the song.
I like John Denver, and I have missed that. How did I miss
You
it?
Probably thank me for not.
Okay.
You should probably was a good thing that you did miss it.
I will not look for it.
Okay. But you should look for it anyway.
Okay,
Now I got your curiosity up. All right, so let's go on to trees.
Trees. I miss the different shaped trees, natural trees that you get at home. Yeah. Like I do miss that
because they're regional.
That's right. And like my Aunt Agnes, her house was Christmas to me because that's where we went Christmas Eve, and she always had like I don't know the type, but it was sort of long branches, like a spruce. Is it?
Yeah, well, they got the Bruce spruce, and those are mostly from colder regions. I think that's what we had in New York.
Yep.
And then when I moved to California, I had a different type of spruce which had long needles on it.
Yes.
Each needle was probably 2 inches long, where the other ones are very short needles, more traditional that you see on the fig trees.
And there were some trees that were better for tinsel because, depending on what you were doing. And in different colors, because you get that silvery blue from the spruces and different ones. But they, I've adjusted now. It's only taken 30 years.
Speaking of silvery blue, remember
Yes.
the time when they came out with the aluminum, or for the Australian people, the aluminium trees? They were just like a big piece of aluminum
Yes.
shaped like a tree.
Well, and we were talking about this earlier because you were talking about the lighting that you had to have
Yes.
because otherwise you'd electrocute yourself.
Yeah, that's right. You couldn't put regular traditional things because it cut through the branches, which are really sharp, and
Yes.
probably. But also back in the day, before the LED lights and all that, the miniature lights. Remember how hot those
Yes.
glowed? No
That's
wonder why
right.
there's so many Christmas tree fires.
That's exactly right because they would burn up, but they would go through and they'd run current through those trees. So if you didn't stab yourself, poke your eye out, you could electrocute yourself.
Yeah. But the lighting was away from the tree. We had this little rotational disc that went around like 3 or 4 different colors on a hot beam, bright
Yeah.
beam. And that shined onto the tree, and the tree kept on changing colors. Oh,
that's pretty.
how disgusting. Yeah, right.
Well, Mom and I used to fight over the flocked tree because I always wanted a flocked one.
But didn't the flocking get
Come
all
off?
over it
Yes.
got all over everything.
But you remember those poor guys that worked at the Christmas tree lots? Because you
Yeah.
go, I want that tree, and then flock it, and they put it in the tent, and then like cover themselves with asbestos and whatever else it was.
Remember
They go, there you go.
it's like the canned spray of snow. Remember the canned snow?
Yes, you could use windows in the
Yeah,
corners.
And then trying to get it off afterwards.
I actually tried to flock my tree here
Yeah.
because Mom gave me my grandmother's recipe of ivory soap and water.
Oh,
It was clumpy but good.
smelled
Oh,
nice.
shush.
100% pure. Yeah.
So now I have a real one at the moment. You guys,
It's real?
that's real.
Wow.
That's real. We dug it out of the ground ourselves.
The neighbors know?
But you guys got the most beautiful
Yeah,
tree
we got a fake
last
tree.
year.
Yeah,
but
we
it's
got
gorgeous.
one of those balsam pine trees. And we bought it, of course, we bought it a year before we used it because, being in New York, I never buy anything full retail.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
it was
full price.
50% off after Christmas. So anybody wants to buy Christmas stuff, great trees from balsam pine. Not even have the new ones that just like on hinges and it just like pops
Pops up. I saw those.
Yeah. So that's like the next level. And the nice thing about it, all the lights are already on the tree. So
That's
there's
right.
3 connections to when you put the things together, plug them in, and the lights are already there. Really good. Easy to do.
Our tree is touching the ceiling. There
Yeah,
was no
yes.
room for the star this year.
Actually, you could have cut the bottom a little bit.
Well, that's a long story. We're not getting into it.
Okay, that's another
That's
Christmas
right.
argument. Okay.
That's right. It
Yeah.
involves a chipper a few years ago.
Uh.
But I wasn't trying to be like the Rockefeller Center tree,
Yeah.
but that would be good. Did you you would have seen that? Did you go in to
Yes.
look at it?
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
it is. That whole thing, they got that big corridor with all the reindeer and stuff that leads up to it in between the buildings. It's just,
Oh, it's just magical. Like I'm not like envious I was of anyone that got to be there and see that because that would be just breathtaking.
it's the best place to be in New York.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what it's going to be like now. Yeah, everybody's moving out of New York. It's just, and now they want to raise. It was just on TV last night. They want to raise the taxes on the rich people in New York to pay for all the deficits they're facing. Which is pretty sad. But while they're doing that, they keep on moving out, so they keep on increasing their taxes,
Yeah.
and the people with the money are leaving.
Well, people.
You'll be able to afford a apartment on Park Avenue South
That's
soon.
true. Well, people are exiting Los Angeles as well.
Yeah.
It seems to be the cities are going on.
Yeah, even Elon's leaving there.
He is. He's going to. Where's he going?
He's going to Texas.
Oh, Elon.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll get him in Texas.
Well, I don't know. He's going to Texas or Berlin, one of the two.
And what about decorations? Do you guys have tradition? Do you have ones Phil made when he was in school?
Yes,
on
we
the
still
tree?
do. We even have a nativity thing that he made out of a shoebox. That put
Yeah.
there. And then we had a whole bunch of, we had decorations and with the year of it since before we were married. And then I brought this stuff to work to store it and
Yeah.
it got thrown away. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yep.
Oh no!
Our past warehouse person would have saved it because he was a hoarder and saved everything, not throw
Yes.
anything away. Our current one, that looks like garbage, and it went into the garbage.
Well, I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm sorry about that. My best friend lost, who's a Christmas junkie here, Sally. And actually, there's many ornaments on that tree from her because we exchange ornaments. She had a garage fire, and she lost
All our memories.
all her memories and baby books and things
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
sad, but like something like with all those, well, look, It happens. Just get over
Yeah,
it.
and you enjoy it while you have it.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Move on.
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
So we'll move on to our first Christmas in Australia, talking about memories that we're trying to remember. What was it like for you?
I was almost accustomed to the weather because I was living in California.
Right.
So I was out of the cold weather.
Let's clarify that you were in Southern California.
Yes.
Northern California is still chilly.
Mm-hmm. Surf City, Huntington Beach.
That's right.
So that got me there. But the first Christmas here, we were here on holiday with Leo and Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, and of course, we figured it's going to be warm. We brought all summer type clothes. We get here 3 weeks. It never went over, I think, 22. It was cold, wet. Yeah. So, so that was a little bit of a shocker. But what we did was we introduced our Australian family here, my mother's side of the family, to a traditional Italian Christmas Eve dinner, with all the fishes.
Yes. Tell us about that. So it's 7 fishes, isn't it? It's a tradition.
I don't know if we
but
had
you don't
7.
have to do 7.
You don't have to do 7, but we did a lot of traditional ones like the bacala. We did the shrimps that we did the Italian style. We did pupa, which is octopus done in like a salad. So we did a lot of the traditional things, and which they never had before, And it was, and my mother was still alive at the time. Oh no, they won't eat that. They went through this stuff like. Like X-Lax,
Well, it's nice when you have something different and, they can appreciate it. My first Christmas here, I was an exchange student. So I had Christmas lunch with the family I was staying with. And then I went to Brendan's family. And it was quite funny because I hadn't met half of them. And I walked in and they're all wearing those paper crayons, from the bonbons. And they all had these little glasses with googly eyes that kind of fell out. Like, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah, wasn't Halloween on October?
But it was lovely, but I wasn't used to it being hot. I think I was still wearing a sweater, like a cotton sweater, because I was just like, it didn't feel Christmassy if I was, in shorts and a t-shirt.
And then all that funny stuff they make on Christmas Day that we never had before.
Yeah, like plum pudding.
Yes.
And pavlova.
And brandy snaps.
Yes.
My aunt used to make brandy snaps, and they were just so good.
Yeah, they are. I love brandy snaps. And it was just very, like the roast part of it is similar, although my family does it a little bit different. But that bit I could assimilate with, but I was just like, where's the pie?
Then my Uncle Bill, because all of his family we hung out with, so he used to do this thing on Christmas on Christmas Day called the Paper Bag Awards.
Right.
So what he did throughout the year, he, whenever people got together or he heard stories about family members, he would keep a diary of it and then read it off on Christmas Day. And like some of the things nobody ever heard of before or whatever, but it was really a good laugh. And he used to give out little paper bag awards to the best one. Pretty cool. We never did anything like that. And the other one was the Christmas concert.
Because you guys still do the Christmas concert.
Well, we didn't do it this year.
Right. Well, this year's a different year.
But it's like, I think most people are over it now, So we used to have a cousin-in-law, Kevin.
Yes.
Who's no longer part of the family. Thought he was a great singer and whatever, and he would take up half of the show. And it's like, get him off already,
Big hook.
Yeah.
Candy cane hook.
Big
Pull
hook.
him off.
So all the kids used to come up and sing or play guitar and things like that. So a little bit of like a talent show. It was nice, And then we started doing other things like with contests in it, and that's part of also what we do. So like the chubby bubby or whatever.
Oh yeah, with the marshmallows. Yes.
Till you do it till you puke and choke.
Yes,
yeah.
Chubby bunny.
Yeah, chubby bunny.
That's it.
Yeah. So I do little games like that. That's quite fun.
Oh, that's beautiful. I kind of miss the formality of Christmas at home because I like getting, that's your chance once a year you get dressed up. Like you get your Easter clothes, but you dressed up in like velvets or whatever. And, the guys in really
nice warms and overcoats and stuff.
That's right. And sparkly, a little bit sparkly maybe. And you go in cocktails and, dinners. Yeah. And so being here, it's summer, everyone's on vacation. The kids are out and it's hot. So you kind of barbecuing is the vibe. I've assimilated, but I still kind of miss that.
Yeah, I miss
coziness of it.
But even like in Southern California, it's much like here. So July is like January and June. And, you can't realize what season you're in sometimes. And it's, you miss that formality of the cold.
Yes,
because
it's a definite.
Yeah, and it's a whole different wardrobe that you're wearing, and in a lot of ways, it's nice. You again, like you're saying, with a nice coat on or a jacket, and just
and everyone looks good.
Yes, and then you go in and warm up, and you take that on all the coats, go into bed.
There's a George Carlin joke about that, but I'll leave that.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys in your family open presents Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? How did your presents go? Because my husband and I have disagreed. This sounds like a theme. Yeah. I do love my husband terribly, but we disagree on this for about 30 years.
Yeah, we have the same thing in my house. Okay, because traditionally we open up on the Eve.
Yes.
So the Eve was a big thing. So the Eve started, like when everybody got off from work and started early on Christmas Eve night, and that's when we started having the fish. Okay, the fish dinners, and then we break and. So compared to, say, the Australian cousins over here where they play games and stuff, well, we used to gamble. So
that's a game.
We penny in poker.
Yeah.
Pennies, penny in, a penny out, right? Or bingo. We used to play that for a nickel, a card or something. So that was the fill-in time. And then came, of course, the midnight. So we used to have to wait to midnight.
Right.
I think when we were young, they might have pushed it back to 11 o'clock. Or 10, but midnight was the striking hour. So the whole thing was my two aunts, Connie and Frances, and my grandmother used to go into the parlor, right, close the door, and all the kids were going, "Oh, Santa's coming, because Grandma's going to help Santa put all the presents out."
Oh, that's a good.
My two aunts were the elves, I guess. All right. So, and then we used to have to wait for the little bell. That was like, "Oh, Santa left. We could go now," and everybody like charged in there. But during that time, while we were waiting, getting impatient, my Uncle Joey, the ones with the sprinkles, right? We thought they were ants. Used to go, "Oh, what is that? What is that? Is that the bell?" "Oh, no, it's just somebody flushing the toilet." Yeah. So, and that was like the whole buildup and the excitement of waiting for that bell and then charging in there. And of course, then you can't touch anything until it was handed out.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We had, I had a little different setup because my parents were divorced. So I had a couple of families that I went to. So Christmas Eve was the big one. And we used to go to Aunt Agnes's and have big dinner. And then we exchanged our family presents. But when it was a quieter year, maybe I went to Dad's and came home. We always opened the family presents Christmas Eve. And then Christmas morning, Santa came. So Christmas morning, because I didn't grow up Catholic, so we didn't have midnight mass till later on. I have to mention a story about midnight mass in a second. So then Christmas morning, we get like awesome, my stockings. So the big presents came from the family, right. And then I get like fruit presents. And I love stationery. I still love ordering stationery. I used to get little receipt books and things, and I used to sneak down earlier in the piece, maybe about December 20th. And, in the old days, when you got an album, because there's a shape of a record, right? Yeah. And I go down there and like, that suspiciously looks like an album. I'm like, okay, let me feel, okay, that feels like that's where the spine is. And I'd unwrap the paper. I'm like, oh, awesome, Sean Cassidy. All right. And I'd fold it back up and tape it because I don't like surprises. So I would be ready. But midnight mass, my husband's family, good Irish Catholic family, his dad had this mohair jumper, this really soft jumper. And it must be cool. It was cool in the evening. And he used to, he'd have Dibs sitting next to his dad because he'd fall asleep on him because it was so soft. And he'd sleep all the way through mass. So you managed to miss that and have a cuddle, and it was cozy.
Yeah. But going from the Eve to give the presents of the day. So because Jeanette has her father always worked on the Eve because he was a tailor. And of course, everybody wanted the things done the last minute, and he didn't get home till late. So they really celebrated more Christmas Day. So I had to relent to that.
Well, it's
the key piece.
Well, Brendan's family, because my family, is not here. We don't get to go. Brendan's family does a Christmas morning. So we've kind of done that mostly. But this year, because one of my children's moved out. So they're coming over Christmas Eve. So we can actually, I get a little bit of both this year, really, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I've been waiting 30 years for that. And what's your best memory, do you think, Phil?
I think the memory was what I mentioned before, waiting for the bell to ring.
Oh, yeah.
That's a childhood memory.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
That
it was
is
just so exciting and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we go back to the meal again a little bit.
Yeah,
so
because we do talk about food.
Yeah, traditional meal. So we talked about what the Aussies make over here, which is like, the roast turkey and stuff like that. They'll do that on the Weber. But, I grew up with mostly traditional Italian, the lasagna, and the gravy. So the difference between gravy and sauce is gravy takes a bit of while to cook. You do it very low and simmer it.
Right.
And you put the meat into the gravy. So whatever meat you have. So it's usually pig's trotters or pig's feet.
Right.
Okay, because it's glutinous and stuff. Did that, lamb, meatballs, and all that, and Italian sausage would all go into the pot and just simmer slowly. Of course, some red wine in there. And it makes it very thick. Okay. And you would have that as part of, to make the lasagna, and then to go over the lasagna when they serve it. And the meat would be separate. Because you don't put the meat on the same plate. It's like an Italian thing. You don't put the meat with your pasta. So the meat is separate.
Really?
Even though it's cooked in the sauce, but it's set separately, and you would eat that separately.
Oh, wow. I never knew that. I like my dad used to do roast beef. And my mom, I think mom too. We had ham and Aunt Agnes's and Uncle Jimmy's. I think there was turkey as well. But I think of you because this year, because my daughter's the one that moved out. She's vegan. Mm-hmm. And her girlfriend's vegetarian. So they're coming over for Christmas Eve dinner. So I'm making eggplant parmesan with vegan cheese. Yep. So I can do that. My sauce will be vegan. So we're going to have that. But my youngest wants ham and stuffing. So we're doing that.
Okay. How do you stuff a ham?
Well, no, stuffing's to the side and the ham.
I was going to say, do you put a hole in it?
And I broke the lobster, the Great Lobster thing of Melbourne that they're having this year. I've got 2 lobster tails that Brendan and I are having. Okay. So it's going to be like a smorgasbord for Christmas.
That's always the best time.
That is
so everybody has just what they want that's special for them.
Well, and I said to everyone, what are your favorites? I'll just make everyone's favorites because nothing goes together and it's always lukewarm anyway. So you might as well just have what you want. Mm-hmm. And my mother has been gifted our favorite thing at home, tamales. So you always want to have lovely neighbors that are Mexican, and they get all together with the relatives and make the tamales for the season. Yeah. And if you're a good neighbor and a nice lady, they might drop some off to you. So
it's like the Allstate commercial, like a good neighbor.
So she said she's got them in the freezer, and she's had one for lunch and had one for dinner. And I miss that because it's one of those things you don't buy tamales. Yep. You want someone to make them.
Yeah, because it's an all-day process.
That's right. And it's never the same when you get it at a restaurant. So that's part of a traditional meal that we would also have the tamales.
And then, of course, desserts.
Oh.
Now, first of all, before we get to this desserts.
Yes.
Last week we begged.
Yes, with Jeanette too, and she came through.
She made the struffle.
It was so good.
She even posted it up on Facebook.
Oh, that's right. And I'm going to put it, we've got a new Instagram page. I'm going to put a picture of it. I'm stealing her picture to put up.
Okay. And then she really went over the top because then she made the rainbow cookies.
Which I've had this morning for snack.
7 layers. And I did count. There is 7. Doesn't look like 7, but there's 2 layers of chocolate.
Yes.
And then there's a dark layer. What colors are there again? There's like a red layer.
There's green, red, and white.
Right. And in between those,
so that's
5. And then in between those are the apricot gin. That's 7.
It's so good. And I'll put pictures up as that also. Thank you very much. And eggnog.
It's the recipe I read off intrigued her. And she made the double eggnog whammy cookie or something like that. It's called.
And I had that as well as the
I haven't tried that one yet. But I did have your Mexican wedding cookies or Christmas
and sugar cookies.
That was
were they good?
But the sugar cookie is good, but the other one excelled over it.
And so enough powdered sugar that you choke a little if you breathe at the wrong time.
Yes, it was just.
Oh, I am so glad. I will have to do those again.
Yes, I got to wait another year.
No, maybe I'll sneak. I can probably sneak another one in.
Okay, all right. So we got all that. So let's go back. We'll come back with our secret code.
Ooh, I wonder what it'll be this week.
You got to wait. Okay, now we're back with the secret call, and this week is tinsel.
Did you hear that, everyone?
Tinsel.
Oh.
We say it again? No.
Tinsel.
Okay. And listen to this, because Bob's going to tell you when we're open and closed during the holidays.
Okay, so what I will say is that we are open. We're open Monday through Thursday this week, because Friday is Christmas. So Monday through Thursdays, we are open from 10 to 5. We are closed on Christmas Day. We will be open the next day for Boxing Day. You can get sales and come down. And open the Sunday, close the Monday the 28th for the Boxing Day holiday, that lovely little makeup holiday. And then New Year's Day, we're closed as well. So give us a call if you're confused, or I've confused you, which is highly possible. And but you can still come down. You can click and collect. It's a little bit late to mail anything, but we can certainly help you in store for all your stocking stuffer needs. And we are at 73 Cochrane's Road, Moorabbin.
And if you need to get in touch with us and give us any bright ideas, or want to communicate with us, myself or Barbara, contact us at podcasts@usafoods.com.au.
And we've got a new thing this week, Phil.
What's that?
We've got our own Instagram now.
Whoa.
Yes, so it's Gdayall podcast. So you can find us on Insta, so feel free to follow and have a look at, put some pictures and going with feedback. Our lovely Megan Cusack, who gave us the recipe that I read through last week, I actually put a picture of the handwritten recipe on our Instagram page, and she had a note to make sure that all the bakers knew the cranberries in that recipe need to be fresh or frozen. Do not use the craisins. Don't use any dried cranberries in that one.
Okay, so, and listener emails.
Well,
got one from Leslie?
She's just a little bit, yes. Leslie, who is a stickler. Because she said the Mexican wedding cake recipe that we talked about, she's actually made it from a Mexican cookbook, and it has cardamom in it.
It's sort of like that recipe that you put in the basement last week, right?
That you ripen.
You ripen in the basement.
I've got another good recipe.
With Uncle Ray. Yeah, he's down in the basement too.
I've got a good recipe I'll tell you later. I wonder if you dip those ripened biscuits into. And she also found the Stella Dora are still at a local Italian grocery store, Podestos. The soft ones that I like. I don't know about yours, but the aniseed ones are good. And my mom, I talked to her this week, and she wanted to clarify Uncle Jimmy's drinks, because I remember
this is what he serves people.
Yeah, so speaking of boozy Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Right? So if you walked in, he would give you, if you're a Presbyterian, it was whiskey and Coke. Now, this is a bit controversial. He felt that the Methodists were a little bit weaker than the Presbyterians. So he would give you whiskey and ginger ale. And if you're one of the few Catholics in the family that showed up, you got Christian Brothers brandy and ginger ale. So you didn't get any choices. This is what you had.
Was Uncle Jimmy Irish?
No, Uncle Jimmy was funny, though.
It was funny.
And that's when I got my first little sip of Bailey's. I'm pretty sure Uncle Jimmy might have given that to me. I'm not sure which relative, but I was far too young to have it. But
it's your favorite uncle, then.
Yes, Uncle Jimmy was the best. And, my favorite auntie, Aunt Agnes, it was her husband. So they're a package deal. So that is it for the feedback this week. And we talked about Jeanette's beautiful cookie making. So I'm going to pop some pictures up on the Instagram later on. And so you can check those out as well.
Okay. Let's get back into one of our fun things. We'll go right into Nat Nosh.
Excellent.
Right. So skip the music this week. Got that, producer? All right. So the first one, this keeps on coming up again on Wednesday, the 23rd.
Yes.
Is that
geez.
that German cookie Pfeffernussen Day? It's a pepper nut.
Yeah, I'm going to call it the pepper nut cookie because
yes.
Pfeffernuss. I don't know. I want to call it Farfignugan, but that doesn't
yes.
go.
Well, we talked enough about that. Okay,
that's right. Now, National Eggnog Day.
On the 24th.
Well, of course. But I found we mentioned George last week. George Washington's actual eggnog recipe. Now, I think if you stayed there, this is maybe how he won the war.
Don't forget, it was cold crossing the Delaware.
It was cold.
So it had to have a lot of alcohol in it.
Well, or maybe just knock you over to make sure. So that's how he won the war. So his recipe includes a pint of brandy, a half pint of rye whiskey, a half pint of Jamaican rum, just a quarter pint of sherry, eggs separated, no number, they're thinking it's 12, 12 tablespoons of sugar, a quart of milk, and a quart of heavy cream.
That's pretty potent.
That is a...
Yeah. I was helping Jeanette cook the other day, what she was doing. She had to separate eggs.
Right.
So I put 6 on one side of the counter and 6 on the other.
How did I not see that coming?
Got that from the Three Stooges.
Oh my God! We need to put a drum little. Boom. You are shocking. Okay, well, I'll leave you in that.
And you know what? She asked, "What am I doing?"
Obviously, she was busy and wasn't expecting you to fall back on dad jokes. Thank you, Phil. And the next thing we have talked about, the Feast of Seven Fishes. So we can probably run over that one. Is there anything different you do in New York that you didn't do for that meal?
No, just whatever fish you can get.
That makes sense to me.
And when I was working at the bank, Midnight to 8, used to go to the Fulton Fish Market before they moved, but they were in Lower Manhattan.
Yeah.
And that was quite an experience to go there because nothing got started till about 2 in the morning.
Right.
And it ended up about 8 in the morning. But you go through there, and these guys are walking around with these big hooks that they grab like a little wood thing at the end, would fit into their hand, and big hooks. And that was to help them grab the carton. So they would whack it and then pull the carton to them. And of course, the cartons were all full of eggs, not eggs, ice and fish. And there was every type of fish you could imagine. And some people would deal with people that just walked in, some of them won't, but it was all cash money.
Yeah,
and I think some of the other boys they took those hooks home with them too.
I was just going to say I think the hook was a multi-purpose implement, possibly.
Yeah. That was for their other job.
Yeah, December 25th, the National Pumpkin Pie Day.
It's a bit late, ain't it?
Yeah, that's what I reckon.
Yeah,
my family really didn't do pumpkin pie.
I think that's a mis wording here. It's the I'm tired of pumpkin pie by now day.
Yep, very much could be.
And the same thing with Saturday.
Yeah, National Candy Cane Day.
Again, late. Well, why they put it there? It's like
maybe you're taking them off the tree. Because you know how people put them on it. You can make bark then. You can smash it up.
Yeah.
But I think by then I'm sick of candy canes.
Put them in chocolate, hot chocolate.
Well, okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. And Sunday, Phil, National Fruitcake Day.
Yeah, the day that you wrap the fruitcake up, or that you have it that somebody gave to you, and you put it away for next year to give to somebody else.
Because it will look and taste exactly the same.
But nobody ever tasted it.
That's right. There's not even anything to scrape off. It's just there. It's all right.
So fruitcake is like the American version of plum pudding, but worse. Right? Because nobody eats it. Actually, they sell it. People buy it. I don't know anybody that says, "Oh, I had a great fruitcake."
Yeah, no, I've never heard that sentence come out of anyone's mouth
No.
at all. I do make a fruitcake that is like Jamaican, full of rum.
Yeah, but it's a Jamaican fruitcake.
Yeah, so okay, it's not your usual one that
your
gets
Baptist
nailed.
fruitcake. Yeah, with no alcohol.
Now, the 29th is National Pepper Pot Day.
Oh, you skipped one.
Oh, did I? Oh,
Yeah.
I did. I'm sorry. Oh, that's an important one.
The 28th is National Chocolate Candy Day. That just like opens up a whole field of everything.
That's right. I mean, that's when you finish off the boxes of C's candy.
C's. I told you that time when I was in Hong Kong.
Now, tell me.
Yeah, I bought they had a C's stand in Hong Kong.
Oh.
And so at the airport, and I said, I'll just have a piece of the Rocky Road, which was probably in the old scale. I can't do things in the new scale. 6 inches long, and I think it was about 3 or 4 inches high, and about 4 inches wide. That little box. Get home, I look, I just give him the credit card, bye. Got home, look at the bill, $102.
It's the best.
Mrs. T says she's pretty, I don't know where she lives in Beverly Hills, but or Bel Air.
She's making up for all the free samples. Do you remember that? If you go into a C's candy shop?
They still do that.
I know. I used to go.
Did you get out already?
Zane and I be in the car going, "Do you like a little C's? Let's just pull in there." Oh, yeah, no, I don't feel like anything today, but thank you.
Now we go on to Tuesday, the 28th or 29th.
National Pepper Pot Day. So, pepper pot, like I've heard that with different soups and things, but looking at it's a Christmas morning stew.
Yes.
From Guyana. So I don't know if we've assimilated or it's another pepper pot, but that's the only pepper pot I can find. It looked fantastic because it's basically a beef stew, but with lots of hot pepper in it as well. So, and the trick is the longer you keep it cooking, the better it is.
Just like any stew.
Yeah.
Anything
So
like that,
you can probably have that over the holidays if you wanted. And I think
that's about it for this year, because we're going to be taking a little bit of a break.
Yes, we're going to have 2 weeks off. Is it 2 weeks? Yes, 2 weeks.
Brendan has granted us 2 weeks.
Oh, thank God. Well, you get to escape it.
Okay. So anyway, we'll be back. So keep listening to all our old episodes to keep you abreast of things. And don't forget to contact us. And I'll say goodbye to all. Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Let's get rid of 2020. Kiss it and kick it goodbye.
Yes, we will see you.
And one more. And happy belated Hanukkah to all my Jewish friends.
Happy Hanukkah. And we're lucky 13 is the day we'll be back.
Yes.
January 13th.
I'll be a year older.
Oh, that's
God.
That's okay. You know what? 2020 doesn't count.
Yeah.
I think we are all the same age we were, and we just continue on.
Just grumpier.
That's right. It was a freebie.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for staying with us. And Megan, I hope you are enjoying us on your walk this fine Thursday morning. Take care, everyone. And please, drop us a line over the break if you like.
Ho, 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 and bah humbug. Yes.
Merry Christmas. Or you shoot your eye out, kid. Yeah. That's my other one. Wow. Merry Christmas, everyone. Woo. Bye-bye.
Okay.
2 hours and 22 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, that's another 11, 12 minutes. That's good.
How's your editing going to go?
It says here, lyrics of, so then 11 weirdest lyrics from classic Christmas song. Yeah, there's one traditional song that's an alcoholic song, and you had that Gdayall. Mm-hmm. It's called West something on alcohol. Yeah.
Westsail.
There's a song called Westsail, which I never knew that it was about drinking, but it's a traditional Christmas song.
Oh.
Go on the ice at the Rockefeller Center as well?
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's tiny. Do you have to queue up forever to do it, or
no, they do sessions.
Oh, right.
Like an hour session. So
you got it for an hour?
Yeah, you can skate for about an hour. I think it was an hour session. It might be 2 hours, remember. But it's a tiny rink. It looks so big on TV. Yeah. It's small.
Laugh about the time that I was lined up outside the Hyatt store, I think, the Telstra store, to get the iPhone 4 with Kyle. Yeah. And you drove past and you said to Barbara, there's all these idiots lined up outside the store. And I said, tell Phil to get his ass back here with the coffee.
Yeah, and I brought you coffee.
You turned up.
So we're closed Christmas Day, which is Friday.
Yes.
Open the
Saturday.
26th.
Yep. Closed.
26th, 27th.
Yes.
Closed the Monday.
That's
so
correct.
25, 28, and 1.
Just looking. Yeah, so we closed the 28th.
28 and 1.
Yeah.
2 weeks off. Back on the 13th. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.